Lord. Charles Bishop Ellis. I didn't want to really cover this issue, but some people, my co-workers, wanted me to cover this, man, and see how I think about this. But, on the public national news, we know Aretha Franklin passed, one of the best singers in the world. Her music was very inspirational. They renamed Shane Park Aretha Franklin Park, which I feel like is very good. She was the queen of soul, man. I mean, she made impactful music, and she impacted the boomer generation, the X generation, and she was very consistent with her music. She's 14 years of age when she dropped her first album, and you have to thank C.L. Franklin, which is her father, for him actually taking the responsibility to introduce her to gospel singers, to lead singers from the Temptations, Mr. Gibson, Smokey Robinson, Ray Charles, man, those different people that was coming up back in the day, man, to give her an opportunity. And, she wanted to sing at an early young age, man. And C.L. Franklin, he went on about his case, and he continues to give her that emotional support, man, and financially as well, for her to continue to pursue her music career. So we had Bill Clinton, fast forward when she died a few days ago, we had Bill Clinton up there. We had Jesse Jackson. We had Tyler Perry. It was a lot of people, a lot of senators and stuff. I was surprised that President Obama didn't go there because he was, actually he had to address a funeral with John McCain the next day. But, we're going to this, man. Charles Bishop Ellis, man, we're going to the issue with him touching Ariana Grande inappropriately around her side, her breasts, and while he was making a speech. Now, he said some kind of crazy things, too. He said, when I thought about Grande, I thought about a Taco Bell, which, in fact, that all because somebody's name doesn't mean they're associated with their race. My last name could be Ramirez. My last name could be, I don't know, even though my last name is Jones, that's from a white man's slave owner, I'm still a descendant of African American. So your name has really, 100% of the time, it doesn't associate with your race. It's just gonna be your name. And I just look at it like this, man. It's very inappropriate. I feel like him as a political figure, Charles Bishop Ellis, he could have conducted himself in a professional manner. That's all I had to say, man. He couldn't conduct himself in a professional manner. He didn't have the right to touch her in any kind of way. Now, I was talking to Black Male Talk, shouts out to him about this, is that, he went to seminary school. He was just saying that, they were taught to if you want to pray for a woman of the opposite sex, it's best to actually not lay hands on her, but, just pray with her in silent. Don't touch her or have people in the church that is a woman that can, touch her, because, that at the end of the day, that can save you from a lot of headache if they do decide to say, oh, he touched me inappropriately, he sexually assaulted me, because at the same time, they can go from what the woman say than the man. And with this was caught on camera. She did look a little uncomfortable. She wanted to, move away. Now, sources were saying that, he digged his hands and wiggling his fingers around her breast, her nipple, man, and you can't do that. According to Michigan law, in one of the sections, it's that if you sexually assault someone, like you touch somebody's breast or you touch somebody's neck or their chest, or without their consent and they feel uncomfortable, you could serve at least 2 years in prison or a $500 fine. And I don't know if they're going to convict them for doing this, but at the same time, let's look at you as this, man. Even if you're not a man of God, in the Bible, it does speak about, lead the evil desires of your youth, man. You got to create that foundation. It's best, to have a wife. I mean, he has a wife, he has 2 kids. Grope your wife, talk to your wife. Even if I won't even do that to my girl, if anything, but if she's not comfortable with that, but it would be less likely that you would be in trouble. And this is your church. You have at least 60, 70,000 members. All these churches, man, and you just making a bad representation of pastors and bishops. And I feel like, you need to be held accountable for this. And I was defending him, but now I'm looking at it at this, though. We cannot live in a world that we so into our sins. We live in a world that some sin is okay. You talk to the average person about this, they be like, oh, well, she shouldn't have had that provocative dress on. Yeah, that's true, but at the same time, she do deserve to be treated as a human being. She doesn't need to be assaulted for this. Now, I love black men, I love stepping up for you guys, but for this, man, you have to be accountable for your actions as well, man. I can't blame Ariana Grande for this. Yes, it was inappropriate. Her skirt was a little inappropriate for this type of setting, but at the same time, you got to control yourself. You got to have self-discipline. And that's one of the fruits of the spirit, man. And I feel like as Bishop Charles Ellis that, you are a huge figure. People kind of look up to you. People want to imitate you in the pulpit. But what you have done is very unacceptable. He did apologize. I give him that. But I don't know if he's going to be convicted. I don't know. You need to step down from his church, write a letter, I don't know. Maybe you can learn from this, but people say he been doing this for a while. He been talking, touching other women, and with me, I just, say hi to women, keep it going, man. If I'm in a relationship with you, that's different. You build up to that, but you have a wife, you have kids, you have a legacy, man. You have to keep all that in mind. And then, you try to be funny. You talk about her name and saying some racist stuff. So you talk about Taco Bell, saying that Mexicans all they eat is just Mexican food or Taco Bell food, all that type of stuff. Taco Bell's not Mexican food, but that was very stereotypical and racist on your part. So you got to be careful with the stuff that you say, man. And at the end of the day, man, I can't feel sorry for you because you're a man. You're like 40-something years old. You understand the game. You understand how to conduct yourself in society, man, and what the right words to say and what not to do when you see a beautiful woman, man. At the end of the day, man, he could have been best at just touching her shoulder, man. Even if that's a little risky. But with this, you should have said a nice speech with a prayer, honor Aretha Franklin's, her legacy and her music and her family, and keep it moving, man. And appreciate that Ariana Grande took upon herself to perform at your church. With you touching her breast, I feel like that's very out of line. It's very out of line, and yeah, man, you might have to suffer the consequence for this. I don't know, pay a fine or maybe have to serve in some jail time. But this should be a notice that, you cannot just do what you want to do at the end of the day. Now, I'm not going to disrespect Charles Bishop Ellis. I haven't listened to his sermons. I'm pretty sure he's very well gifted. He's very inspirational in the church and outside the church in his community as well, where you use his tithes and offerings. But at the same time, man, sometimes we can't let this stuff slide, man. I know people in America, they're saying that, this making women a safe place in America, but you understand, man, she could have easily Me Too you. She didn't make not one statement about this, but because of her demeanor and, her mannerisms, she wanted to move away. But they say you kind of forced her a little bit, with your side, and, you was touching on her. And so, all that stuff, man, it's all in effect. It's going viral. I just want to say, Bishop Charles Ellis, be accountable for what you do, man. Be careful for you and for other brothers, man. If you see a woman, man, be careful of spitting game to her because she can use that against you. And at the same time, man, you can't be into that lustful state. You have to be in a spiritual state at all times. I understand that you're a man. We all make mistakes on a day-to-day basis, man. I say some things that can be offensive to people. But at the same time, man, if you had that responsibility, it's things that you could have controlled. And I just think that you touching her and you don't even know her. The fact that she's not even a celebrity, she can be a woman off from the street. She could be a woman that's just working regular 9 to 5, not even famous. You get what I'm saying? You touch her like that, she still have the right. And she could have appealed you. She could have sit up here and say that, well, I did feel inappropriate and I felt wrong. I felt uncomfortable with this man who was touching on me while he was making this speech, touching my side. So at the same time, man, just keep your hands to yourself. And you will probably avoid all of this. But that's all I had to say on this, man. It's kind of disappointing the way he conducted himself in that funeral, and it could have been done differently. But you guys continue to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me you guys what you think. And I know we had Dr. Boyce Watkins. He was defending him, saying he did nothing wrong. Yes, he did do something wrong, Mr. Boyce Watkins. And I'm kind of disappointed in you too, because you're the only person like in Black America that's really defending him. That I know that's in a huge financial sector, man. You can't. I understand that as Black men, we are under attack spiritually. We've been on attack for the longest, but we should know better. That man should have known better. He should have never done that. And nobody told him to go in and touch her on her side. Jesse Jackson's name, even when she was performing, he looked the other way. It's different things that you can do, and I understand the temptations that's coming around, but that's what Satan wants. He wants the people, the man of God, to fail. Because if you see those people fail, then everybody is not going to take Christianity serious, man. They're not going to understand the Word of God. They don't even want to pick up the Bible and read it. Because the things that you doing, you got a preachers of Detroit, preachers of LA, that's actually off the air now, but you live in a double lifestyle. People like you trying to give me spiritual advice, but you in the club drinking with me. That's not a good look, and that's why I want to change. I want to change that. I'm doing this daily day in my Sunday school teachers and just having meetings with different pastors and just talking to individuals, man. I understand that we're not perfect, but we had to go abide by the laws of the Bible, man, and what Apostle Paul did and what Luke did and people in the gospel and what Jesus did to spread the gospel for the truth, man, so we can live an everlasting life. But you can't keep living an everlasting life when you're doing things in the world that's pleasing to the flesh. That's all I had to say. I'm out.